Do 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 do. Ga ga ga.
No, keep that going.
I don't feel like we were in the same key.
Probably weren't.
Or style.
70s rock. I was doing more of like a jazz odyssey.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. It's kind of a rock odyssey. A rock
odyssey.
A rock odyssey. A rodyssey.
Whoa.
We got to be careful
Did we
with
just
that
stumble upon a new genre?
Maybe. I remember when I was a kid, I was exploring this creek and I found this weird little animal thing that I had never seen before. And I was like, I think I just found a new species. Like in a neighborhood creek.
A new species.
You said that? Who said that?
I thought I discovered a new species
Recently?
of animal. No, it was when I was a kid.
Yeah, yes, recently just
Yeah, it's
happened.
like last week.
When I was a kid, someone had like a sugarcane farm in Louisiana,
Okay.
and so they let me like cut off a piece of sugarcane.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of, if you've ever seen it, basically it looks like a stick of celery almost when you strip it down, and but it's sugarcane. Anyway, I was like, I'm gonna make a new food, and so I took it and I poured butter in the middle of it, and then I put it in the fridge. And my parents were like, "What is this?" And I was just like, "Don't touch it! I'm making a new food."
What did you call it?
Sugar butter.
Sweet butter?
Butter stick.
Butter stick.
Ah,
Yeah,
it's already-
that's already taken.
I already have that.
I don't know that. I don't know anybody that thought to put butter with sugar before.
I mean, all you're missing is flour and you have a cookie.
Exactly.
You have a biscuit.
It's like the basis of all American food. Sugar, then butter.
But not like this.
Not like that. Not
Not
refrigerated.
raw sugar.
Not
That's the healthy. It's in its healthiest form. It's right off the plant.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, this one's organic.
How does sugar cane work though? Like, can you eat it or like?
You could. I'm trying to remember.
I just imagine sugarcane kind of looks like bamboo.
That's what I've always
that's right.
said.
That's right.
Okay,
That's what it looks like. Yeah. So it's kind of like, yeah. I mean, it's just like if you like peeled off the exterior of bamboo and it was a sugar stick.
Sugar stick.
I remember it had kind of a curve, it had like a divot in the middle, and so like
That's
the butter,
for the butter.
It was
So the
like
butter goes.
celery.
I'm remember this happened when I was, I want to say 7. So we're looking. It's 30.
So you should remember the details.
It's 34 years ago, and supposedly like memories. I think I heard someone say that like you're not remembering it correctly.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
they're pretty significant details.
Someone who it does know about sugarcane right now
Is like,
oh my gosh,
They-
Adam,
they're
you're
like,
not
Yeah,
even-
it looks exactly like bamboo.
Okay,
Adam,
all right.
or Gary's got it.
I'm
pulled
looking
up.
it up right now.
Yeah,
I could
okay.
walk through a sugarcane field. That would be sweet.
I get.
What did you
Listen,
say?
Gary, leave the
We're the
jokes to the
comedians.
professionals. Okay.
Well, I'm looking at pictures of it. It looks like a bamboo field almost.
Yeah. Okay. This is what I have in my head. All right. So maybe I was onto something.
Maybe something.
I do like the idea that
If only you'd been born
oh,
a couple hundred years before, maybe you would have been the pioneer of sugar butter.
how did we could. Guys, listen. I know we all like sugar.
Yeah,
We're also big fans of
I
butter.
love it.
But have you thought about this together?
I mean, is it better than honey butter?
That would have been my next discovery.
That's your biggest competition was the bee.
after I made billions off my sugar butter,
Right.
I would have been like, what else is out there?
Honey butter.
Honey butter.
What else is sweet we can put?
Then I'm like, apple butter. Guys, I would have dominated the whole butter industry.
You would have been.
He's a butter mogul.
I've been saving this. I have
Yeah.
big news.
Oh my gosh.
Seriously.
Is it that I've got a proper microphone?
It is a big
And
day.
people can
It is a
say,
big
"Oh,
day.
that's
We got
what he
Gary
sounds
on a
like."
proper mic.
Let's talk about the different mics that we put on Gary. First, there was no mic.
No mic, just shouting.
no
It was just shouting,
Just camera
audio, with the camera mics pointed in the opposite direction.
Right.
That was number one.
Which we're baffled why that didn't work.
Well, so I was just there. I wasn't, there to
Yeah.
contribute.
That's true. We weren't expecting a lot from Gary.
we were in fact, we just asked if you would just help us one time.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I don't even know if I asked as much as I was just like, "Hey, Chris and I are going to do this thing," and then I just kind of stopped talking to see if you offered to help. So there was just the camera mics, and then we went to a like an onset Rode like shotgun mic, which you would use if you were interviewing someone, just kind of generally
In the
pointed in his direction.
General vicinity of Gary.
Right? Is that right, Gear?
I mean, it was pointed at me, but
All right.
it's good for an interview when there's one person talking, not
Picked up a lot of audio from
A lot of
guys.
other people.
Picked up a lot of audio from us. And then we went to the lapel, like a
Oh.
pastor. That was
Yep.
the last couple of episodes where Gary sounds like he's
well,
doing
those
a
probably
TED Talk.
even sound different because the first one was on auto, and then the next one I changed it to manual.
Whatever that means.
Yeah.
So-
Too technical.
Too
Real
technical.
noise and that kind of thing.
That's for our production listeners. And now we find, and here's the thing: we didn't buy a new mic. This mic has been
This
available.
one's just been sitting
been sitting
around
the whole
collecting
time.
dust.
And it's better than these two mics.
It's actually better.
So
Yes,
I don't know
it is a
why,
better mic.
where the missing link was there in that
Yeah.
idea.
But so Gary, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah,
So nice to have you.
still can't see him.
No,
'Cause some ways,
kind of back in the
he
dark.
does have a job to do.
Yeah.
Let's not be ridiculous.
Yeah, I've got to make sure the red dots are on each camera.
I mean, I can see him, but
So-
you know. Yeah, I have big news.
I want to hear this.
Oh,
Are you excited, Gare?
You're legitimate. You waited to tell us.
I legitimately, the hardest thing about this podcast is whenever something happens in my life, I was telling you guys this morning, I typically immediately text, "This is what's happening,"
yeah.
or I at least tell you because we always hang out on Mondays, and or I will call. Sometimes I call.
Yeah.
I was like, I have to tell you what happened.
Totally.
so this is so exciting and important that not just Chris and I should be the ones to know, but everybody listening.
Yeah.
Also
as a friend, I'm
needs
honored
to
that
know.
you would do it this way.
I don't know. I don't know if anybody else is going to care, but it does have to do with my career.
Okay.
So, and this podcast is about where we're heading in our career.
Sure. Yep.
And but it's hard like when something happens, I want to call or text you guys. But sometimes I try to hold it back.
Yeah.
So that I can tell you on the podcast so that there's a fresh reaction.
I just wasn't sure if this is actually something you've already said and you're just pretending like you held it back. So if I have to pretend like I'm
Well,
surprised.
now everybody knows we do that sometimes.
Oh, well,
Well, this,
I
I
think
think,
those are-
Chris, you go into Pastor Bobby
do what?
mode. Receive this as if you're Pastor Bobby
Oh
at
my
a
gosh.
chair.
Well, this is like a real friend thing. I just
But
want,
yeah, this
I want to
is
hear
a
this.
friend thing. And you know who's going to be most excited? You're both going to be excited,
Oh my gosh.
personally. But
Is
No,
it
I-
Abby or
Gary's gonna be excited.
Okay.
Yeah, but you're gonna be excited too. But Gary's gonna be a little bit
A
more.
little bit more excited. Okay.
did you
All
get a
right.
plane?
All right.
Are you ready?
Hit us with it.
I bought a second car.
Whoa.
Oh my
Whoa.
God. Yes.
Yeah.
Where is it?
It's not here. It's in Florida.
Okay.
But we bought it last night.
Dude.
And so I go pick it up. I got to go out of town this weekend, so I'm gonna go pick it up next Saturday.
In Florida?
It's in Orlando, so I got to fly out there and I got to drive it back.
Gotcha.
You
And
got to drive the thing all the way back.
That sounds
do.
awesome, actually.
yeah, I know you would like this
I
sort of
like
thing.
that.
Yeah,
I would
and
send Chris then. Just Chris.
Yeah, send me.
all right.
I'll
well,
go do
that
it.
doesn't want to go. You can come with me.
There we go.
Would you guys like to take? I'll give you two guesses each on what kind of car it
And
is.
what kind of car it is?
Yeah.
Do we need to? It's a Fiat.
Okay, so Gary got it on guess number one.
I was going to say, you really like Fiat.
I do. I have a Fiat XA. A Fiat 500X. Fiat 500X. Yes.
That's what the new one is?
And what
Or that's
is
what you
this?
have?
That's what I have right
larger?
now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
this-
what's
A larger car, a larger Fiat that looks almost like a normal car size.
Would you like, I guess it'd be kind of hard to guess. You don't
I
know
don't
all
know
the
the
Fiats, do
Fiat
you?
Yeah, I don't
models.
know any-
Yeah.
It's the exact same car.
Oh my.
The exact same one. So this
I don't know why
car,
I'm
you
not
got
surprised,
such
but-
a great deal on it in Florida.
Yeah, it was seriously
It
a
was
good deal.
still cheaper to fly to Florida
Yeah.
and drive
Oh,
back.
dude, yeah.
It's for real, like $55 to fly to Orlando. Like,
$55.
yeah, it was a flight for $55 one way.
And your gas is going to be like
yeah, I guess it'd probably
400
be like
bucks.
$300.
Or I guess in that car, it's probably only going to be $55 to drive the
No, it'd probably be like, maybe it'd be like $200, I bet.
Amazing.
17 hours.
$200, you doing it in one day.
Yeah, we're just gonna get up about 5 a.m. and drive it straight back. So flying the night before, get it
And when is this? When are you doing this?
next Saturday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah.
Got yourself a car.
Yeah. But Di has like been looking at these cars and she's seen this car for a while. Bought it on eBay.
Oh,
And
okay.
she's seen it for a long time and she had like a notification on it and they dropped it down $2,000. Like it's below like trade-in value.
Yeah.
And so
How many floods has it been in?
it's 7? No. Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't have an engine. I don't know if that matters, but we'll get one. We'll get
We'll
one.
figure it out.
Yeah. We got to pull it with our current Fiat and then yeah.
It's got a great bones.
Great. The exterior
It has been
it's
phenomenal
impeccable.
shape.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
So-
is it the same color?
It's white. So
Okay,
the
so then
one we have
we
is
will be
silver.
able to tell.
Is this going to be yours or Di's?
It's going to be Di's. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a year older, but it has less miles on it. And yeah, it'll just be, I don't know.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Well, really what kind of was, I mean, as far as like the career, what really was doing is I was having to rent so many cars.
Yeah.
And we were just like, it would be so much more convenient and cheaper if we had, why are you?
I'm laughing because you said you were holding this information from us
Yes.
so that you could share on the podcast, but you just bought this last night.
Yeah. Oh,
So you had to wait a whole 8 hours.
well, we
Oh,
were like,
man.
it takes us like an hour to set up. So we were talking and I was just like, I want to tell him. Because Gary, I
so
just
funny.
edited this episode, but Gary, you were saying on the podcast, you're like, you know what I want for you, Adam, in 2023?
That's right.
I want you to get another
Mission
car.
accomplished.
That was a
Yeah.
prophetic word.
Look
Yeah.
at that. Chris,
What did you? I forget
Where
what
you at?
What did you speak?
your
over me?
anniversary has it already happened?
Yeah.
And what
Oh
did
my
you do?
word.
What'd you guys do? Go to Chick-fil-A?
Okay, hold on.
With-
hold on.
And your
I'll give you
daughter
guys-
brought
hold on.
you some
Guess-
sandwiches
Hold
out?
on. Let me catch everybody up to speed. Chris Munch and his wife have been married. This is your 20th anniversary.
20th anniversary.
And historically, Chris,
don't tell me today is your anniversary.
It's not today.
Chris is not known for doing anything significant for his anniversary.
Sure.
No, that's not true.
Okay.
He's not known for celebrating within 6 months before or after
Yeah, okay.
any significant date.
That's true. And the big joke that we always make is one time for his anniversary, he took his wife to lunch and he took her to Chipotle. That was your anniversary.
Right. Did we do that?
That's what you told me.
Another
that's true.
example is my daughter and Chris's daughter are friends, and Jenny got an invite to Hazel's birthday party. I was like, "Oh, that's exciting!" But Hazel's birthday was like 6 months ago.
That's 2 months ago.
It was in October, and they had a party in December.
Yeah, it's like That's just we're a little late.
There's not a lot going on in December, so let's just
Yeah, why don't we just
add
wait
one
to
more-
do this around the Christmas?
Chris Munch's tombstone, better late than never.
That's what we're gonna name the podcast episode. So, when was your anniversary?
So my anniversary was on the 17th, so it was Tuesday
So it was,
of this week.
so it was 3 days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
What happened?
We went out to a very nice dinner. Okay. Actually, the most expensive dinner I've ever been a part of.
Really? What restaurant?
Fleming's.
Nice.
Okay. All right.
And then we saw Avatar.
Okay. I'll be honest. I'm mildly impressed.
Hey, really?
I am. You did do something.
I mean, you had to
We
clear
did-
the evening to go to.
Yeah, it
You went to
took
dinner and saw a
I know.
3-hour movie.
That's a long.
We did an early dinner, so like we ate at 5,
Okay.
and then I think the movie was at 7 or something.
Did you go and see like the 3D experience or?
The times didn't work out.
Uh huh. Did you
Okay.
go to the
But
little
we did-
movie theater?
No,
over by your house?
we did it. We went to the Warren.
Okay, that's a nice theater.
Yeah, and did the biggest room, the
Okay.
21 and over
Oh,
balcony.
okay.
So
Okay.
All right, no expenses spared.
no expenses spared.
I mean, that's
So
several
is
hundreds.
that the extent of your 20th anniversary? Is you're like, we're good?
When you went to bed,
No,
were you like, we're done?
What I want to go on a trip,
Yes.
but we're also saving up money for a house,
Okay.
and so I feel like I can't.
Mhm.
I don't want to spend a bunch of money until we figure out where our next house is going to be.
You know, I don't agree with it, but it's admirable. It's an admirable quality.
It's like, okay, we'll do a fun date, but we would love to do like a
Adam
trip
just
somewhere.
says, why not both?
You know,
I'm like, why not go eat and see a movie on the trip?
right. And that's fair. It's a fair assessment.
And I would make an argument some of the best memories you've ever had
Yeah.
were on a trip.
Yeah.
But hey, you're going to be talking about that movie Avatar for the rest of your life.
I really wanted to go to New York and
Yeah.
see Mike Birbiglia's show
Yeah.
before it closed.
Yeah, did that.
You did that.
Yeah, I did it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. I
So-
didn't do that.
Wait, the one he's doing right now?
Yeah,
I
but
just
I,
finished like
yeah,
last
I saw
week,
it in LA, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you saw it too. You and I went to Denver and saw it.
Oh, it was the same thing.
Yeah,
The man in the
when he
pool?
was in Denver, he didn't have all the set, and it wasn't complete.
The set looks amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah. So big day. I bought a car.
You got a car.
So I don't have to rent cars anymore to travel. You saw Avatar.
I saw Avatar.
Did you like it?
I did.
Oh,
I did.
okay.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
All right, that's good.
You didn't like it.
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh.
But I did not enjoy the first one.
Oh,
So
okay. Your
Yeah.
soul is black. I get it.
I guess so. Yeah, I don't care about the world.
Yep.
All right, welcome to the
Welcome to the
podcast.
podcast.
Welcome to the podcast. Hey, what are we talking about today?
Well, I thought we could talk about something we have talked about, off camera a lot.
Yes.
And have wanted to share. But I want to hear from you. I want to talk about how you structure your jokes, write jokes,
That's
that kind
fun.
of thing. I mean, I think a lot of people go, "Hey, I'm a pretty funny person with my friends," but then getting on a stage and like being funny on a stage is
Yeah.
like a totally different thing.
I could do that.
Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah.
And then maybe they've tried
Yep.
and it's pretty challenging. So I would love to hear about kind of how you write jokes and all that kind of stuff.
That's fun. So a lot of people know this, but just to get everybody on the same page, same foundation.
Yes.
If you want to become a comedian
Yeah.
as a hobbyist, which is a great thing,
Yeah.
it's be a very fun hobby.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends do it as a hobby.
Yeah.
Or if you wanted to be professional, or if you wanted to maybe do it, kind of part time. Your starting point is open mics. So I think a lot of people know that, but just so everybody knows, an open mic is nothing more than, basically, someone setting up something at a bar or a coffee shop, and you go and you sign up. A lot of open mics are only comedy driven. And so it's, they're going to give you get 5 minutes up on the mic to do your stuff in front of everyone. Sometimes they're called a mixed mic, which is you could do spoken word or poetry or music. So that's where, obviously first place you're going to go to do it in front of an audience is you're going to go to an open mic. So you got to write jokes.
Yeah.
And you're going to write, 5 minutes of jokes or whatever. So that's where you start. That's where I started working on my career.
What does that look like? Do you just get up there and come up with stuff off the top of your head? Do you plan out every word? Is everything memorized?
Yeah.
Are you just are you regurgitating a monologue that you've written beforehand?
When I started, I wrote everything out. So I just would think of, for me, so much of my comedy comes from personal stories versus like observational humor.
Sure.
So I just thought of like, these are the stories that I have found myself in my life telling people a lot. If you're my friend, you've heard about the time I went to jail, or you heard about the time that, actually I can't think of anything else. The other time I went to jail, or, stories like that. So I just thought, what are some funny stories that I could tell? So I wrote them out.
Yeah.
And I remember the first, oh man, I said I remember, but I remember one of the first ones. One of the first stories I ever told is about this time that I kind of semi broke into my friend's house so that I could stay the night there.
Yeah.
And then realized that like the house was not empty. There were people there, though I thought that that it was empty. So I wrote it all out, and I pretty much memorized every word. Did it in a Google Doc. I remember the mic was at like 7:00 or 7:30. And as soon as work was over at 5, I just sat in my office and like was memorizing what I had written. And so it was like a multi-hour thing. And so I think one thing about an open mic, you only get about 5 minutes on stage, but it's about 3 hours of your time because you get a lot of mics. It's like first come, first serve. So you got to sign up. So you get there an hour before, 30 minutes before, and you're signing up, and you're sitting there. Then you're waiting on them to call your name. And then if you are professional, you stay as long as you should. A lot of people, they just come in and then they jet as soon as they're done. There's an argument that could be made that like, well, I got to go to the other mic. Tulsa doesn't have that many mics, so you really should stay for everybody. Because if there's no crowd, it sucks for everybody else.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So I just
It's kind of like a decision all the comics together are going like, hey, we're going to all listen to each other's sets.
Yeah.
To give them an audience.
As much as we can. Yeah. Sometimes you do have to leave or whatever, or it gets really late. So I did that. And then the next week I did it again with another story. And I did that for a while. Like for a while, I could only go to one mic a week, and I wasn't doing it professionally or thought that I was going to be a professional comedian.
Right. Yeah.
So, and I'll be honest, at the beginning, I feel like, or I thought I was killing. But after a while of doing that, I started to realize, I don't think this stuff is as funny as I think it is. I think I'm doing really well, but I'm not really getting very many laughs. If you're just listening to this cat
Hi.
is now on.
Please don't attack my face.
The cat is on the chair behind Chris, just staring at him.
Our eyes
Hey,
are
that'll be a
locked-
great thumbnail
locked
for
eyes. This is
that's
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is why I have a dog.
This is why I don't have any pets.
Yeah.
This
Don't
is why
jump-
you have a dog. Dogs are more disruptive than kittens.
That is true.
Actually,
Well, maybe
my
not a
dog's pretty
kitten, but
crazy.
puppies, kittens, disruptive.
Okay, maybe the cat is now just sitting on the back of the chair behind.
Okay, now it's climbing up my shoulder.
Is she, or is she just sitting there?
Oh, she touched me. I definitely felt the power leave.
All right, he's over there now.
Oh, there we go.
Let's see what happens. All right, so I think
Okay.
we keep going. All right, so your goal your goal after a while is 5 minutes. I want 5 minutes of just like really like a great set, because a 5 minute set is what you would do like if you were maybe a 5 minute set. Hopefully you would get on video and you would send it to a club and you'd be like, I could do 5 minutes. Yeah. So after a while of like just telling these stories, I realized like some of these I'm not getting as many laughs as I think I am. And watching it on video or listening to it on like my voice memo was like, there are times on stage where I would be like, that joke got a really good laugh. Then I'd go back and listen to it and be like, oh, it didn't. I was wrong. Or Di would be in the audience and she'd be like, I don't think that joke got the laugh you thought it did. And I would be like, yes, it did.
It's Slade.
It's Slade. And then I would go back or watch a video and be like, oh, it didn't really. And I think this is a pretty common term, but our friend Isaac Whitty, who's a comedian, calls it laughing years. You think like, and I get it, man. You kind of like, I do it today. I'll tell a joke and then I'll listen. Like if anyone and one person's laugh somehow gets in your head as being like a lot of laughs, you know? So anyway, because I had all this material that wasn't really getting a laugh, I had to like start like really like cutting out the parts that weren't getting a laugh. So I'd like tell a story and just be like, well, this whole section is not getting a laugh. So if I delete it, does the story still make sense between the two laughs? Because you really want to get like a laugh every 10 seconds, at least at the beginning of your set. You know, like as you go further, you can have longer times spans without laughs, but at the beginning so you're talking about a 5-minute set, you want to have like 6 laughs a minute kind of on average, and that's really hard. So just to kind of speed us up to where we talk about how to write a joke, you want to get 5 minutes, and then you want to get 10 minutes of material, and then 15, and then 30, and then you want to be a headliner would be an hour. Okay. So now let's say I'm working on a new bit. I'll have an idea for a joke. I'll just be walking around or driving or whatever. I'll either think of a story or I'll think of something that's funny, and I'll just put it in my phone. I just got to note this as jokes, and just like let's see what I got right now. Come on. Oh, they had popcorn and pizza for their American barbecue. Like I just wrote that down. That was just about, I was in Tokyo and they were promoting this American style barbecue. And when I got there, all they were serving was pizza and popcorn, which is awesome. I was in, this says Arkansas was making fun of Oklahoma. I was in Arkansas and people there were making fun of Oklahoma the way that we make fun of people in Arkansas, which I just thought was funny. And here's a comment or a joke, a line I wrote: when your mom's friend is your only Facebook comment.
Yeah.
And that is about some jokes that I have posted recently where the only comment was from a friend of my mom, which that's very funny. Yeah.
Yeah. So just kind of fragments, just like pieces of ideas that you're trying to come back to at some point and kind of turn into actual jokes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then like when I sit down to write, and I write every day, I just will write it out. The way I have found jokes the funniest have been when I'm driving and I talk them out. I'll just be in the car and just be like, I think it's funny whenever you post something on Facebook and then you get a notification and it's like, oh, somebody commented on it. That's a big deal. Okay, you go see it. Oh, it's my mom's friend Sheila. Okay. Well, that doesn't feel as good as it did before. So just kind of talk it out like that.
Yeah.
And then
see if there's anything to it.
At some point, I'll just write it all down, and then I'll just start looking at it. And if I feel like any of it's funny, I'll start asking myself, like, what can I cut here? And I think I should go back one. Pretty early on, I learned that when you're looking at a subject that you're trying to make a joke out of, there's some pretty simple questions to ask. Like, ask yourself, I wrote it down actually here for the podcast, and I had it right here. Let's see. What is embarrassing about this? What's annoying about this? What's hard about this? What's weird about this? What's scary about this? What's stupid about this? Right? So I have this bit that I've been working on for a long time about how I went to IKEA, and online they said that they had 16 of this one item in this one spot in the warehouse where you go and you pick it up. And I walked over there and they had 0.
Yeah.
And so like you could ask yourself, like, what is stupid about this? What's stupid about this is that they have this really like what appears to be excellent system that doesn't work. And so when I went to ask the customer service guy, like, hey, do you have this? And then he looked on the same system I looked at and said, yes, we have 16 in the spot that I had just looked. Then it's just like, okay.
Yeah.
So what is stupid about this? Well, and so he said, I said, well, I drove 4 hours to get here to buy this. And he goes, hey, probably should have checked first. And I was like, where would I have checked? And then he's He's like, you would have gone online. I was like, I did that. And he goes, I see your problem.
Yeah.
So he's like, that's stupid. Like, that's what's stupid about it.
Yeah.
So if you can identify one of those things for me, then I just will write it out, delete everything I can that isn't funny, and then see, do I have anything here?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if I have at least like one good laugh, that's something.
Mm-hmm.
And so then from there, I'll take the joke to an open mic. I'll try it out either as a one-offer or try to put it into something if I have other material that's related.
Mm-hmm.
And then if it does well at the open mic 2 or 3 times, I put it into my set. I just try to find a place for it.
So one of the things that I think I struggle with the most is, and I think it's kind of just because the audience has always known who I am.
Because you worked at a church.
When I worked at a church, it's kind of a bubble where it's like, it's most of the same people that you're performing to every time. And so the moment you take the stage, you feel the rapport that you've built over the years with people that like, okay, they know where they know what I'm about. They know where I'm coming from. Obviously, in a world where go to do a show and no one knows who the heck you are.
Yeah.
How do you find like a connection point where they care what you have to say? Or like, sometimes I feel like, some of my material is about, myself or about things that my relationship with my wife or whatever. And sometimes I just feel like, why would anybody care about what I have to say about me?
Yeah.
And if it, like, getting to that connection point is something I feel like I really want to work on in this next year and get better at that.
So let's look at, I opened for Kevin Nealon.
Yeah.
No one is there to see me. I'm not even on the bill.
Right.
So as far as they know, they're going to get to the show and Kevin Nealon's going to take the stage and it's going to be great.
Yeah.
Well, that's not super beneficial for Kevin Nealon because there's a reason we call comics warm-ups, like an opener or a feature to warm you up to laughing. It takes a little bit.
Yeah.
And so having someone like me come up and get people going is really helpful. So I take they make the announcement before we have Kevin, please give it up for Dry Bar comedian Adam Bush. I take the stage and nobody knows me at all. So it's 2 ways to get people on board. Number 1, be funny.
Yeah.
Just be funny.
Yeah.
Come out. That is a place I'm trying to kill.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm doing my best material. My opening joke needs to be a great joke that gets people laughing. And then number 2, get people to like me. And I don't think people think about that enough, but you can't, everybody can't be Bill Burr, who is we all like Bill Burr and he's,
just kind of abrasive.
He's abrasive and kind of a jerk and he's really opinionated.
Yeah.
But if you like Bill Burr now, you're just like, yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
About him. It's hard to do that when you're just starting.
Yeah.
You really need to.
Well, and he didn't start there either.
I'm sure. Yeah. I don't know his trajectory or whatever. But yeah, so playing to my strengths.
Well, maybe he did, now that I think about it.
Maybe he did. He did.
I know stylistically, I was reading this thing about where he started off doing more like one-liners and two-liners. And he's kind of grown into doing more like these longer, like kind of stories and all this kind of stuff. So that's how he's evolved. But he may have been just as like opinionated before. I don't know.
Yeah. And I'm sure there was some sense of that in his set. But for me, like half the battle is just people being like, I would like to hear more of this guy.
Yeah.
Smiling.
Yeah.
Being fun.
Yeah.
Not being, not being a jerk.
Yeah.
It's not being a jerk. And a lot of comics really are jerks on stage just because they think it,
Well, yeah, I get it. I feel like you want to say things that they're not expecting.
Yeah.
And sometimes that comes out as, aggressive language or saying things in ways that are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he said that. I feel that.
I heard this joke from a young comic who he said, I'm married, but I don't wear a wedding ring in case I meet the one. And Well,
it's fine. I don't wear a wedding ring.
I don't wear a wedding ring either. But you're just like, I hate This guy wants to cheat on his wife.
Yeah, right.
Even if his next joke was really funny,
Yeah.
I'm not for you.
Right. Yeah,
So
yeah.
that is a big part of it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So how do you get people on board with you? It's just like, be funny.
Yeah.
And I heard early on that just like all that matters is if you're funny, like in regards to like, just be funny. Just be funny. Be a funny comedian. I was hosting an open mic the other day, and there were two newer guys there, and they were like, "We're new. You got any tips for us?" And I was just like, "Be funny. Say funny jokes, and don't go over your time." That's another thing that's not for here. But yeah. So I think.
Do you feel like that's? I mean, I feel like that's of course be funny, but that's hard. Is there a way to break that down even more of just like, because what's funny to some person isn't funny. Like that joke you just referenced, this guy with, I don't wear a wedding. That's him trying to be funny.
You have to be honest about whether or not your jokes are hitting. You just have to be honest.
Whether or not they're what?
They're hitting. They're doing well.
Oh, hitting. Yeah.
So like I've done it too. You see so many guys get on stage and do 5 minutes
right,
and then get off stage and be like, that was pretty good. And I'm thinking, I don't know if you were at the same show that I was just at, but no one was laughing.
Yeah.
And there is something about being on stage where it's really easy to think that everyone's laughing. I don't know what it is.
It's interesting. And I feel like I always go the opposite direction.
You do. And that's a real talent.
Yeah.
To be able, that's why recording yourself just with your phone, just so you can watch it.
Yeah.
I do audio because I'm not going to use the video.
You know what I wonder if that is too? I have had the privilege of being a part of productions and things that have done really well in like a large group or like a big auditorium or something.
Yeah.
Like we've done things for, 2,500 people or whatever that just really were really funny. And like, so I maybe I know what that sounds like to have like a room of that many people like laughing and like really enjoying themselves. So maybe for someone who's starting out, they don't really have anything to compare it to.
Yes.
So it's like, oh, I heard like 3 people laugh, so that went really well,
right?
Or I heard a couple chuckles in this, so it's like, oh, that's good.
Another thing that you got early on that both Gary and I experienced too is we would read, like when we worked at the church, when we wrote a funny script, we would read it in front of like 10 people.
Sure, yeah,
and if they're laughing, then like. I should say, if they're not laughing, you're right there.
Yeah.
And plus, we had a boss who was very keen on humor. Don't just cut that. We would just feel it.
Yeah.
And we had this brain trust of people.
Yeah.
Most comics,
right?
Either they don't do that because they don't have a group, or they don't do it even with one person, or they don't listen. So actually, the way I would say it is like, they're not doing their comedy in front of somebody else before. You don't always, if you're always going up and always doing an open mic and like all the time, your spouse is going to get tired of you. Like, I just don't have time to tell every joke to die.
Yeah.
But at the beginning I did, and you have to listen because it is too easy to say, oh man, when I did that before, it killed.
Oh yeah.
And you just got to be like, all right, you don't like it. There have been a couple of times where like I did a joke and I was like, they did like that joke. I didn't like that joke. But man, that is few and far between.
Right. Yeah.
So listen to those people. So
that's good.
Take your premise, write it out, see where you can cut the fat, do it for somebody. Say, do you think this is funny? And then, whether or not, based on how they respond, take it on stage, record yourself, and then be honest with yourself. That's kind of like, that's kind of how I do it.
Yeah, that's a good start.
Yeah. You're asking this stuff like you never write a joke or whatever, but like, like when you write a joke for like, even for like Steven Stevens to do, what are you? How do you actually write it?
Yeah. It's all just, I think it's all just finding connection points. So I usually try to think of a visual thing because I don't know, video is a visual medium. So I'm trying to think of something that will visually look funny. And then like, for instance, like the hot tub video I did.
Yeah, you did
recently.
a video where Steven Stevens was in a hot tub
doing
a Tinder video.
Right. So just the fact that he's in a hot tub is already visually interesting more than just me standing there looking into the camera.
Yeah.
So
I've also noticed that like you're pretty good at the details of like Steven Stevens always wears a gold chain.
Yeah.
In the hot tub, still a chain.
Yeah.
Which is silly.
The gold chain is kind of the only thing that I'm like, he will always have, like, that's his like main
He thinks, yeah.
thing he'll always have.
And then of course, visually with you without a shirt on, that's awesome.
Yeah, everybody wants to see that.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably why that video did so well.
That video did pretty well.
No, it did do well, but like the steam from the, it's a lot of visual things to look at. So it's like, okay, well, I know I have something good if I feel like, okay, there's a real good visual base. Then the fact that it's a blow up hot tub was just another thing that just also is interesting and different than what you would expect to see.
Yeah.
And also feels a little more lame. No offense, Gary. When you think about a hot tub, he's like, of course, Steven has an inflatable hot tub because that just feels a little.
I mean, of course, Gary has an inflatable hot tub. It's so Gary because it is a hot tub.
Yeah,
it's inexpensive.
Yeah,
and So
I mean, it makes perfect sense. Like, of course, then you can put it away.
You can put it away.
In the summer,
But like, that's a really good example of like, Gary has an inflatable hot tub. Like if you see it and you're like, that's kind of like, it might even make you laugh and you don't really know why. But if you ask yourself, what is weird about this?
Yeah.
What's weird about it is you can put it in the closet.
Yeah.
That's a kind of a good example.
It just has a ring of like being cheap.
Yes.
So I think that's what I gravitated.
just trashing Gary.
I think it's smart.
And hey, that's a good joke too. Like, my only regret is I didn't buy it sooner.
Yeah, right.
It's kind of a misdirect.
A misdirect on what you'd think someone would say.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for things that are just a little off. That are like, oh, that's a weird. And then I try to say things in a way that's maybe a little different than how you would normally say something or whatever. So I'm trying to just stack the visuals on top of then coming up with clever things to say that would be trying to, get a date with a woman.
Yeah. And I think this is a good example. What you're talking about is a good example in movie making. It's called plussing it up. Like, how can we plus up this scene or this line?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How can we make it better?
Yeah.
And so you're doing it mostly visually. How can it
and a box of wine again is just something that sounds a little cheaper than a bottle of wine.
But
exactly. Yeah. So all those things are working together to create this image of this guy.
The fact that he thinks it's nice.
Who thinks he's like killing it.
Yeah.
And thinks like these are amazing ideas. Yeah. I mean, I have kind of a baseline formula of like, I always want to start with something visual just because on TikTok, you want to grab people like within the first 2 seconds. And that's why I stopped introducing myself as Steven Stevens. I just try to get right into something that's going to kind of grab you.
Yeah.
And so I need an opening thing and then a little bit of like a setup with kind of a punch. And then like another little, I don't know, little break where I'm setting you up for like the big final.
Yeah.
And I guess what I'm trying to say is, and then I'm into like my main big final reveal joke.
Yeah.
So I try to basically do about three hits there, 3 big hits. And on top of just anything visual that you would see that would be funny.
So you've got, and it's nice because since you're doing this on video, you've got like the opportunity, you can have a literal reveal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you can I've seen a physical reveal where you move the camera up or.
Oh sure. Yeah. If I got something on my head or something, I'll frame it low and then kind of reveal what's on my head.
Or like when you did the one where you're kind of mimicking Maverick from Top Gun, you said at the end, like you had kind of a funny tie in at the end.
Yeah, is that where I said?
Basically what I'm saying is,
If you're looking for a wingman, or if you're looking for a wingman there, Maverick, call me Goose. Is that what it was?
What, yeah, that's good. I thought this would be a funny. I see a lot of similarities between like what you're. I mean, it's all humor, comedy writing.
Sure,
but like, there's definitely like, I mean, you're trying to keep yours tight, so like anything that's you're trying to keep a laugh or an interesting. And I've heard Nate Bargatze say that before. If I'm not saying something that's funny, I'm going to say something that's interesting. Yeah. So, and maybe right at the end, we'll end this with like some like quick tips on writing comedy. But I thought this would be fun, like with the questions with the idea of a premise, and then the questions: what's embarrassing, what's annoying, what's hard, what's weird about this subject. I was trying to write a joke about being born with cancer. Like, that's just a fact. When I was a kid, when I was a baby, I was born with cancer. So the questions being, it doesn't even have to be funny. What's embarrassing, what's annoying or hard or weird or scary or stupid about that? So like, what are some, like, I'll ask you and then I'll ask Gary. So I think the ones that would work here are like, what's weird about being born with cancer? What's scary about being born with cancer? Or what's stupid about being born with cancer?
I mean, obviously what's scary about being born with cancer, less so scary for you, but more scary for your parents.
Yeah.
Is obvious. What was it again?
What's weird? What's scary? What's stupid about being born with cancer?
It's interesting to like where my mind goes is like more into what's like saying what's weird about it almost feels funny because it's like, because the stakes are so high.
Yeah.
Like it's like a life or death thing to be like talking about what annoys you about it, or like what's weird, or what's like, you don't think about, it's kind of annoying is that I have to do, I don't know what it is, but that's interesting to me.
Yeah.
Like in light of it being this really big, dark thing.
So if I'm writing a joke, I might just write that down.
Yeah.
Like, even though it's not specifically funny yet.
Yeah. Right.
Just write it down.
Yeah.
Might spark something later.
Sure.
So a couple I came up with, I was born with cancer. This is such a dark joke, but if you're like, oh, that baby is born with cancer, so cute, he's dying.
Okay.
If you're just listening, Chris just closed his eyes. Yeah. But that is what's weird.
Yeah.
This person was born and they're immediately dying.
Yeah. It's like this life coming into the world with a very
on their way out.
Yeah. Right.
Which then I thought, that's every baby. I mean, honestly.
Yeah.
Everybody's on their way out.
Yeah.
As long as see? Yeah. So there might be something there. But another thing I thought of was, I was born with cancer, and what's hard about it is it's not a great start.
Yeah, that's funny.
You're just immediately at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
So the joke that I've been doing that has worked is, I was born with cancer, which isn't a great start.
Yeah, that's
and
really
that cool. So that's a good example of like following that out.
Yeah.
Even through the parts where you're like,
Well, I think even like sometimes there's things that you're trying to say that maybe you could say it in a really dark way, but then if you can find a way to say it in a way that's just a little more palatable, you'll find that it's actually funnier. Like that's part of the challenge of like, how do I say this in a way that actually people can hear it?
Yeah.
And like what you just described, I think that's not a great start.
Yeah. That's not
a funny way of saying you're kind of born with a death sentence in some ways.
I mean, that's it. That's another good one. And you're not going to start with that joke. It's only going to work if you're just like in the middle of something. People know you and like you, or you're in the middle of a set where people have started to like you, or like you're moving in that direction, and you can kind of. So another one I that's kind of in the same vein, because I've been working on a lot of jokes about how odd my body is, and cancer is a big part of that, but. When I've told you guys this before, when I was diagnosed, and this is a good thing for joke writing. let's say you have that joke, you have one joke that you're doing. Ask yourself, anything else that happened around this? Not, is there anything else that's funny? Did anything else that happen around this? One of the things that happened around them finding out that I had cancer is when the doctor diagnosed me, he gave me a 98.6% chance that I would die. Okay, so what's weird about that? One thing that is weird is why not just 98%? Like, is what's the difference between saying 98 and 98.6? It's not worse.
Yeah, it's very specific.
It's very specific.
No, I think it is worse.
It
When
is
it's
worse.
that precise.
I know. It's like,
Yeah.
is it like, you know what I mean? Like, is it like if I had a 98% chance, would that be like, oh, I'm feeling
Well,
pretty
no,
good?
it's comforting.
Yeah, exactly. And so asking myself, like, what is weird about that can bring out some jokes. And the joke that I do the most is, is the 0.6 necessary? I'm not, I think there's something there. So, yeah.
It's awesome.
Couple of tips. Just if you're writing jokes, we'll wrap it up with this. Couple of tips.
Adam, give us your top 5 tips for writing jokes.
Here's my top 5 tips on writing jokes. These are off the cuff, but they're things that I'm living right now. Number 1, give a joke a shot. Yeah. If you do it once and nobody laughs, just try it again.
You say there's a 98.6 chance that
there's a
most of your jokes will
98.6%
fail?
chance it's not going to work again. But
Wait, you said give it a shot. So you're saying,
I'm sorry, I didn't say give it a chance.
or give it a chance. You're saying try the joke. If it doesn't do well, try it again.
Try it again.
So give it 2 shots,
I would say give it 3 shots.
3 shots.
Give it 3 shots.
Okay.
Yeah. Give it 3 shots. And if it dies,
Like you're saying a joke that you really like.
yeah.
Yeah. If it's something that you're like, I don't really like this, but maybe it would work. And then you tried it and it didn't work. You'd continue to do that.
Well, why would I tell a joke I don't like? Okay, you know what? Number 2, tell jokes you like. Write jokes that you think are funny. Give it 3 shots.
Yeah.
I would say give it 3 shots. I didn't come up with that. I heard Neil Brennan say that, who co-created the Chappelle Show. He's a great comedian.
Yeah.
Give it 3 shots.
Okay.
I
And
do
then-
the same when I start any TV series. I go, I'll give it 3 episodes.
Is that true?
Yeah.
I've heard the 3 episodes to get, let a show get to the 3rd episode because
Yeah.
there's a lot to ground to cover.
Seinfeld has a great joke about that. How everybody's just like, you got to watch my show. The first 4 seasons are great.
Yeah.
But then there's a couple episodes right there at the end. You're going to really love them.
Season 3 is when we really got it figured out.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Give a joke 3 shots.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. The second thing I would say is, I said write what you know, but just to be more specific, write things that only you can write. So it doesn't mean that you can't write jokes about dating or traveling or whatever every comedian talks about.
Getting older,
Getting
married.
Getting older, getting married. It's not that you can't write jokes about that.
Sure.
Yeah, you can do that. But there are things that only you can write about.
Yeah.
And so the things that only I can write about are I had cancer.
Yeah.
I have a couple of going to jail experiences. I have my specific life of growing up in Louisiana.
Yeah.
Not that no one ever.
Right. I
else
think
had
it's like
cancer.
you write your point of view.
Yeah. About the things that you,
Right.
yeah,
From your
that make
perspective.
you unique.
Yeah. Right.
So I heard a guy recently say that he retired from the Navy, and he's like, but I don't want to be known as the Navy guy. Be known as the Navy
Yeah.
guy.
Right.
Because nobody else can write jokes about being in the Navy.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
created a puppet show. Nobody else has created a puppet show. Like, write jokes about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Find those unique things about yourself.
All right. So we got give a joke 3 shots. Write your unique perspective. 3, we talked about it, but just as hammer it home, be honest with yourself about the jokes. Are you just making an excuse? That joke usually kills. Oh man, this audience sucks. Like, be honest.
Yeah.
And if-
Don't blame the audience.
don't blame the audience. Every once in a while, you get a weird show, but it's not the norm. So be honest and dump it if it's not working. All right. Number 4, prepare well before you go on stage or perform or try to pitch it to someone. A joke, even if it's like, I've got this joke that I'm trying to pitch to my spouse, like, write it out the way that you write it out, give it up, get to know it somehow, to give it a shot. I can't tell you how many times I've said to Diana, what do you think about this joke? And she wasn't in the right frame of mood or what, I didn't say it well. And she's like, I don't know. And it really killed my momentum.
Yeah, right.
But then when I went back and sit down and tried it again, like, oh, I just didn't give it like.
Well, I think it goes back to how fragile jokes are. Like there's a lot of things that have to be right for a joke to work.
Yeah.
Like you see this on SNL or whatever. Like you can see like sometimes if they're going to say a joke and if they just like stumble over a word.
Yeah.
It ruins like the joke. It does not get as good of a laugh because it's just a little distraction. You think it's just a little stumble over a word. They had to repeat the same word twice. Like what's the big deal? But it can ruin a joke. So I've fallen into that trap where I've just kind of tried to off the cuff kind of pitched a joke.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, you're kind of rambling. And so then.
And you got to remember, people are not where you are mentally right now.
Exactly.
Yeah. Last thing is write every day. Write every day. That should be number one. Write every day. Write every day. At a minimum, I write for 30 minutes a day.
Yeah.
And so if I'm going to bed and I did not write today, I'm going to be up for 30 more minutes.
Yeah.
Write every day. I heard Seinfeld say this one time, and it is totally true. People would say, I didn't write today, but tomorrow I'm writing all day. Nobody writes all day.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It is very, very rare. I mean, I am talking about the only times I have written all day is whenever like I waited until the day it was due. And now I'm talking about a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah.
And like, I don't have a 9-to-5 job, so I can come up with a million excuses why I'm not going to write today.
Yeah.
But write for 30 minutes every day.
So good.
And that is my TED Talk.
Powerful words.
A powerful word from Adam Bush. And listen, if you'd like to buy my 5-tape series on how to write a joke, 3 installments of $69.95.
There it is.
All right. Anything else you want to leave them with?
That was wonderful. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you. I could tell from your
riveting. No, that was great. I was learning from stuff from that as well. That was great.
You know what's funny? Most of this I learned from you.
Oh
yeah. So do you want to do it again? And we can. Yeah.
Maybe I just need to be reminded of some things.
No, I mean you've been writing so much longer than I have, and I mean I learned so much comedy from you when I started working with you, and then we're just in a season now where you're doing so much more acting, and I'm doing so much more stand up, and I just finished my special, so I'm trying to write a new hour.
Yeah.
So this is a big part of my life right now.
Well, I don't have as much experience writing stand-up jokes, which I feel they're similar, but it's still different.
Yeah.
I think I'm still just trying to find my voice and my groove when it comes to stand-up. And I think characters are going to have a big part in that. So it's still just kind of figuring out how this all works together.
And if there was a 6th tip for today, I would say, find yourself a buddy. And I don't mean, you don't have to, Chris and I rarely sit down and like actually write together.
Yeah.
But we do brainstorm a lot or
throw ideas
out. And that's the same thing.
Yeah.
I might call you up and be like, what do you think about this? Do you think this is funny? Or when we went over to your house to help you with the Swan Brothers show, that sort of thing. But find yourself a buddy that you trust.
Yeah.
And doesn't just say everything, but has some ideas and has a good back and forth.
Yep.
Gary, you have any tips about helping your friends with writing jokes?
I mean, if I was writing a joke, I would definitely rather fail in front of you two than an audience of, 15 or 20 people.
The whole thing was worth that note right there.
There it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Better to fail in front of a couple than, I don't know, anyone. A bigger. That's the purpose of an open mic. Most of the audience is comics.
Yeah.
And so when you don't do well, nothing goes over, then one more tip.
Oh my gosh, they keep coming.
If you're listening to this and you are a comic and you go to open mics and you don't prepare anything, you sit there for 3 hours and then you go on stage for 5 minutes and you've not prepared anything, you are wasting your time.
Sounds like you're wasting everybody's time.
Yeah, you're wasting everyone's
time. I mean, I guess you're right too. But like those 5 minutes are valuable. It is for most of us the first time we get to actually see, is this going to get a response? Prepare some dang jokes.
Yeah. Well, is the temptation that people think, oh, I'll just kind of get up there and wing
I'm
it?
just gonna
I'm
get up
pretty
there.
funny. I'll get up there and just kind of like,
or like,
see
I
what
didn't have any
happens.
time to write this week.
Yeah.
Just like, just do it.
Yeah.
Do it. Yeah. And, or if you're like, oh, I'm just doing this for fun. Yeah, whatever. Do whatever you want.
Do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adam's comedy tip. Hey, thanks for coming to the podcast. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We appreciate all of the support. Seriously.
Yeah. Seriously.
That's a understatement.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it. Like and subscribe. Oh, somebody's home.
It's my mom.
Somebody's home. Like and subscribe. Share with your friend if you don't mind on Instagram or TikTok or wherever you share this stuff. If you want to follow me at Hey Adam Bush on Instagram and TikTok. Follow my pal Chris here, Chris Munch Comedy at Instagram and TikTok.
Instagram, TikTok, YouTube.
Yeah. Order a cameo from Chris.
Or Cameo. Yeah.
Have us come to your place and do a show.
That'd be so fun.
That'd be so fun. Give us a call. Send us a direct message. This is Adam and Chris and Gary on the mic.
Whoop, whoop.
All right. Until next time.
Bye.